Yeah. Here's money in case shit happens. And if shit doesn't happen, we get to keep your money.
But if shit does happen, we're going to fight you tooth and nail for every single ounce and penny of what it is you think that you're owed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or what it is you think that we are required to cover.
Yeah. You think you're owed that? You're not.
Says right here.
Yeah, we have a table here.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the hard way with insurance on the last time that I made an insurance claim.
Which was for what?
One of my tenants moved out, and when the tenant moved out, there was a leak, and the leak was somewhere that couldn't be seen. It was slow, progressed over time, and they defined it as seepage. And seepage is not covered under insurance the way,
like if a pipe were to burst.
Yeah, an incident.
An incident. Look at the technicality.
Not covered. So that, which should have been a couple $1,000 deductible, wound up costing me, give or take, $10,000. Brand new kitchen, basically. Appliances, new countertops, because the whole thing was literally a shit show. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Well, I'm about as ready as I'm going to be today.
2 cans?
2 cans. That's 400 milligrams caffeine right there, kids.
See, there's people out there that go by 2 chains, and then there's people that are 2 cans.
2 cans.
2 cans.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the #1 financial literacy podcast in the world. This is the Higher Standard. Sitting in front of me with the LA Dodgers cap and the old school Higher Standard merch that you can find at thspod.com is my partner in crime, Christopher Nahibi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I love that you're rocking the beads. It's very...
Yeah. My wife sells vintage jewelry
holy
now.
Of you.
So now I'm wearing the beads.
Yeah, I love it. No, you've never once offered me any beads.
Would you like some beads?
I would love beads.
Is there a particular stone that calls your name?
Yes.
What's your birthstone, Saied?
Ruby.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's the only one I know.
Ironically, a color you probably can't see.
Well, red? I can see red.
You're colorblind.
It's red.
I thought you couldn't see red and yellow.
No. It's blue and purple, first of all. It's when red and green are together. Christmas time gets a little dicey.
You realize stoplights are red and green, right?
It's top, middle, bottom. We've covered this.
Yeah, I know, which is why I thought you couldn't see red.
Yes, right.
This is very awkward. All right, well, my colorblind partner in time, Saied On, everybody.
Damn. Sit behind the desk in the production suite. Furloughed.
Yeah.
The fighting furloughed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's not there.
We miss you.
This is becoming a recurring problem.
This is like every other episode.
Yeah.
We need to establish some KPIs. It's our tracking attendance.
So, Regil, we need to talk about your attendance. You're good through maybe December, and then after that, we're going to have to ask you to come in every day.
Yeah, right.
We're not working remotely anymore.
No, exactly. It's unacceptable. We miss you, Regil.
I looked at some data today about work from home.
Oh.
And it's not as prominent still as I thought it was.
Okay.
Where it's not like everybody's working from home 5 days a week, but there's still like a good over 1, almost 2 day work from home average.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's just perpetually changed. I think the stiffness and rigidity around work culture has changed forever.
You think for good? Yeah. I mean, you got Bill Gates out here saying, I wouldn't be surprised at 3.5 day work weeks.
Yeah, this is the AI rhetoric stuff,
bro.
Man.
3.5 days, crazy. Half day?
Where does that come in?
Bro,
why do they have who was like, if we're gonna pitch this, guys, if it's gonna sound believable,
right? We
need to layer in a half day.
Yeah.
So it looks like we went through some data. It's an average.
Right.
Yeah, we're up here.
Yeah.
Everybody. So all the guys in tech are pitching hard for AI is gonna really boost the economy.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna see this prosperity boom like nothing we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? People aren't going to have to work as hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're not going to get into much of it on this episode. You covered it a lot on the live, which was very successful.
Was it?
If the viewers or listeners, or if you're new to the show, you don't know, Chris does host a THS live show Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time that you should check out.
Yeah, FOMCs always pop off. It's a party.
Popped off today, right? But today he covered the Fed meeting, and your boy, your new boy,
Kevin Warsh.
Got to give him a nickname.
Jerome Powell-like. He looks just like a young Jerome.
The remix?
Although he was a little bit more like, he was breathing kind of heavy on the mics today. I don't think he's got any media training.
No, he had a plan when he came in. But to go back to your AI point, he says, it'll probably be the most disruptive thing we see in our lifetime. Yeah. I mean, that's the pitch. I know, dude. He says, and you know what I see with this?
But disruptive doesn't mean prosperous economic times.
I see opportunity, but I see risk.
Yeah. That's
Bro, what do you...
When he came out the gate using the words first principles, I'm like,
I like girls that are tall, but but short.
I don't want them to be short or tall.
Right.
They've got to be just right.
Just right. Yeah. The neutral zone.
But I also don't give forward guidance on the girls that I like.
Right.
Which is also what he did today.
Yeah. And he also went on to say, that whole dot plot thing that you guys are so accustomed to seeing?
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to be participating in that.
Yeah. He's like, everybody before the meeting were like, there's only 18 dots, Frank.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I know you guys were hoping for a token discount cut right away. But you know what? Instead of doing that, the committee was really split down the middle. And I just chose not to vote.
Yeah.
So we didn't raise rates. You're welcome.
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah.
But again, he came out. The best part about the whole day was that he really honored his commitment on the media side. And did not want to. He doesn't want to issue forward guidance. He wants a much more truncated communication schedule. He's assigned committees to everything. We covered that in the live. You should go back and check it out if you want to see it. This episode, we could have gone into that, but we decided we're going to do something a little different. I've been playing around reading some material. I know it's crazy, but this is going to be episode 341 for us. How Billionaires Avoid Taxes, Buy, Borrow, Die, and the New Aristocracy. This is going to be kind of a working example. And I know that anyone who listens to this with a political, I guess, kind of slant is going to listen to this and go, okay, this is an episode that speaks ill of the rich or has a slant one way or the other. This does not. Okay. These are just tax strategies that the billionaires of America, the company owners, tend to put in place. And I think what this does is it's going to give us a bit of a working example of how this is used today, how it is in practice. It's going to give us real life examples of people who who use these strategies. But I want to be very explicit up front. This is not to demonize the wealthy, and this is not to say that any of these things are bad per se, but it is a broken system.
Yeah, for the majority of people. And for a long time, it was, I guess, it wasn't really kept under wraps per se, but more people are hip to the tax code now and trying to understand it and trying to, take advantage of it because they understand that this isn't going away, right? No matter who you feel like is representing you in Congress, right? And what they say is different than what they actually do because they're all taking advantage of the strategy.
Yeah. Look.
As you should.
If you can, you should. The problem is the strategy is slanted in such a way that it is punitive to people who are making money by working. And I want to be very explicit about what that means as we go through the show. So let's just be clear right out the gate of exactly what we're talking about. America doesn't tax wealth. It taxes people who need paychecks. That's the key kind of overriding theme here. A W-2 earner pays every 2 weeks. You pay your taxes. A billionaire/founder can borrow against stock, donate appreciated shares, use trusts, and die with a stepped up basis. Meaning that it's easier for them to maintain their wealth because of some of these principles we're going to go through today.
Right. And we'll go through real life examples of how there are advantages to what you buy and what you invest in and how much you get taxed, versus just being a W-2 wage earner.
So like all good things that happen to us in society, this started with a scroll down the Instagrams.
The Grams?
Yeah, I saw a post from the New York Times. Ezra Klein, a columnist there, interviews Ray Madoff. Ray, a female law professor at Boston College of Law. Ray is a very androgynous name. Ray, background is she teaches in rights in tax law, policies, wills and trusts, and estate planning. So this is kind of her subject matter expertise. She is a co-founder and director of Boston College of Law School Forum on Philanthropy and Public Good, a nonpartisan think tank. I want to be part of a think tank, by the way. It just sounds like, oh, yeah, Saied and I are part of that one think tank.
Yeah.
We think.
Are they allowed to use chat?
No, I don't think so. That convenes scholars and practitioners to explore questions regarding whether the rules governing the charitable sector best serve the public good. Sounds awesome, right?
It sounds like, yeah, you're doing something for the people.
But what caught my eye was none of that. It was Madoff's most recent book, the critically acclaimed The Second Estate, How the Tax Code Made an American Aristocracy. Exposes how American tax system serves as a mechanism to consolidate wealth by creating two fundamentally separate American societies, the working Americans who pay and the ultra-rich who benefit. The Second Estate was named the best book of 2025 by the New York Times and Boston Business Review. That was news to me. But shall we see the original Instagram post that kicked this whole thing off?
I think we should.
Where do you want to go here?
Yeah, for some context.
You think context is good?
I always think context is good.
I feel like you want context for different reasons.
Oh, why?
Well, I'll show you. Let's see here. All right. Let's go to the original clip here on Instagram, and we will play this out. So here it is right here. So this is the problem. With Jill here, I can be sexy and multitask. So obviously a bit different now. All right. That's her background. By the way, this is her right there. This is her profile on Boston College of Law. She's pretty good at what she does. This is the book. We're going to get into that in a little bit. I'm going to play you a little bit of an intro to it, which I think is kind of cool. But before we do that, let's go here to Instagrams. And probably good if I take the mute off, huh? Don't clear your throat at me, boy. Here we go.
Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, congratulations.
Thank you.
What kind of taxes do you pay? What don't you pay? How do you end up not paying income taxes when you're Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk? Yeah. What are you talking about?
So first of all, let's focus on Jeff Bezos because he's much more of a classic case. He started his own business. He owns, a dominant amount of the stock. And over the course of the years, he has taken a salary that is no higher than $82,000. And it's been over 20 years now, and that's his salary is always capped at $82,000. And you might say, well, why would it be? He started the company. He's the man. Why isn't he taking a huge salary to reflect all of that he put into the company? And the reason is because salaries are for suckers. When people take a salary, they are subject to high income taxes and payroll taxes. And Jeff Bezos and a lot of our other multi-centy billionaires have no interest in paying those taxes. So instead, they take their benefits through the growing value of their stock, and their stock has grown enormously. And that massive growth of stock happens entirely tax-free with no time frame under our current system in which that stock will ever be subject to tax. And that is because we only impose a tax if the stock is sold, and Bezos never has to sell the stock because he can simply borrow against the stock and use that money to support his lifestyle and to pay any interest that's due on the loan.
See, and I know we all know that concept, but this is a woman who specializes in this, right?
Or we've heard of it, right? So essentially what do they do is they can pledge their holdings in an asset, right, to a bank, and the bank will just give you a loan against it, right?
Right. And people go, well, they're still borrowing money. They have to pay it back. And it's like, yeah, but if that money is collateralized, the interest rate you're paying is considerably less than somebody else getting a traditional loan anywhere else, right? On margin, for example, in stock, whether it's concentrated or not is a different conversation. But let's just say you had a stock portfolio. Your margin loan can be as low as 1 or 2% interest rate. Versus, you put it in the S&P 500, you're going to make more than that.
I mean, versus, let's just say if you were to, I think anyone would think that someone like Jeff Bezos would probably get paid more than $10 million as the CEO of Amazon, right?
Yeah, not the case.
Yeah. But like if he were to get a $10,000 or $10 million salary from Amazon, that's 37% he'd have to pay in taxes.
And we're going to get into the intro of her book. We're going to play it. And then we're going to get into really what are the 8, I would call, kind of resounding themes that we see deployed. And we're going to talk about specifically the tax strategies that are put in place to avoid tax liability by the ultra wealthy. Some of these you can do.
Right.
Some of these we can all do. And some of these are just good to be aware of because it helps you understand some of the things we talk about on the show pretty regularly. This is why we always talk about the money that you're going to make between the hours of 5 to 9, not your 9 to 5, are really what's going to differentiate you from being wealthy to being a traditional working American your entire life until you're on subsidized government health.
Right.
You know?
But what you and I were talking about today, actually, that kind of dovetails into this topic of the show, is it feels like now with conversations that are being had, like that we know, that we see people having, right, is if it's not 10xing, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's realistic. I think, unfortunately, that comes from, I got energy drink all over the table.
You got the juices everywhere.
The juices everywhere. It's juice is loose. I think the problem is that we've got this starved lower and middle class. And I want to be clear here. This is the middle class too. In California, if you're making, I think, $104,000, you're still considered like barely getting by.
Yeah, it's considered lower income.
That's lower income. And that's incredible to me. You and I were talking this morning about how from
2019, 2020.
2020-ish, somewhere in there, to now you've eroded about 30% of the purchase price of the US dollar. That doesn't include inflation and other elements as well.
So what does that mean? That means someone like what you could buy with a salary of $100,000 back in 2019 would now need $300,000.
When you flip the numbers, to me, the example of $104,000 being low income is not as scary as the idea of $300,000 being $100,000 just 5-6 years ago.
Scary, yeah.
And I'll use myself for a very open kimono example here. I used to make in the 7 figures.
You are known for being open kimono.
Yeah. Breathe it in. Drink it in.
Just take it in.
I used to make, in the 7 figures. And for the last several years at the bank, I took a pretty hefty pay cut because we voluntarily give up our bonuses proactively. And in doing that in the banking space, that's more than my entire salary and then some. It's like over 100%. So I was making, my 450, 400, 500-ish base plus, over 500,000 in a bonus. And that was a pretty comfortable life, not including investments and recurring income from other places, right? I own real estate. And I will tell you, even at my income level today, excluding investment income and other things, it doesn't feel financially free. And that's a really shitty thing to say. I have
you understand how that sounds, right?
Yeah, I understand how it sounds. I mean, you and I are talking to, I've got a pretty significant payroll of people that I, have to support.
Mm-hmm.
And my
it's
mortgage,
not like you're living a lavish lifestyle.
No, I live in a 3-story townhome, $1,700 a month, $1,800 a month-ish, not including HOA, a mortgage payment. I've got one car payment that I keep just to have, something in the credit report. I'll pay it off. And then outside of that, I don't have any credit debt. I've got my mortgages on all the properties, but, most of which are, not in my personal name. But still, you would think that someone like me would feel hyper financially free. But I think there's a paradigm shift that there's 2 generations of, but no one's really accepted yet. When I say millionaire, we think rich.
Yeah, I know.
But if you take the idea that we just provided, whether you go 33% down or 33% up on the erosion of the dollar, and you say, okay, a millionaire by the standards 5-6 years ago was $1 million. If that's your benchmark, today that's a $600,000 mark, right?
Yeah.
It's a very big financial difference. So it's true, and cliche as it might be, today's billionaires are yesterday's millionaires. And
almost, yeah.
There are multiples, and they're significantly bigger, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But in a world where you have the first trillionaire in Elon Musk, you have to recognize that there is a growing wealthy class and then everybody else. So let's play a little bit of the intro first chapter to her book, which I think is intriguing, and I think everybody should want to listen to this. But again, grain of salt. If it's not your cup of tea, all good. We're going to get into some real-world examples of celebrities, LeBron James. We're going to talk, let's see here, Larry Ellison, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, a number of people. Okay, so let's go.
Has an area of expertise. Mine is the tax code. For more than 3 decades, I have taught law students the principles and subtleties of this document that does more to shape American economic life than any other. The tax code, in all its 7,000 pages of excruciating and arcane detail, directs the flow of wealth and capital in the United States. The tax code is a set of laws, and accordingly, it is subject to amendment. For much of the 20th century, these amendments were frequent, as Congress revised laws to account for the new and creative ways that individuals, and increasingly their tax advisors, found to circumvent the spirit of the existing rules. This relationship between private actors and public regulation was normal, even healthy, and it produced a tax system that was continually refined to reflect the society and government that it financed.
So I'm pausing this here because I think it's important to set you up. This part that comes next is really important. So if you were tuning out because the voice sounds soothing, it's Coast 103.5.
Right.
This next part is important.
Over the past 40 years, the tax system has changed. Maintenance of the tax code has slowed, as has its enforcement. As private wealth has dramatically compounded, the redistributive promise of the tax code has been hamstrung by private interests that seek to prevent it from catching up to changes in society.
So let's break this down a little bit, okay? So the promise that was the tax code, and if you go back to the very beginning, Milton Friedman, the income tax portion of this was supposed to be temporary wartime relief.
Right. They started it just to help fund, what the plans for the war.
And the government liked it so much that they just kept it. Right? If we were married,
that wasn't the first time, though.
No, it was the first time it was kept.
Yeah, right. They always implemented it when they needed it, and then they took it, and then eventually they just decided to keep it.
Which, I get it. You don't dip your toe in a pond you don't want to keep. But
yeah,
let's just say you and I were married hypothetically, right?
Yes,
let's just say I'm tolerable as me.
Yes, my dear.
But let's say I went out and got a lottery ticket, and I won $50 million. Now, you got to ask yourself, whether you love me or not,
okay,
you got to say, God damn, I could divorce this dude and get $25 million now. And walk away with $25 million.
I don't got to deal with this anymore?
Nothing. Nothing changes. Or I could stay here and we could share this. What do you do?
That's dirty.
It's dirty.
Some people think like that.
But that's what the government did. Right?
Yeah.
I don't need this, but it's kind of nice.
Right.
It's kind of nice.
It is kind of nice. And the way that, and I'm sure she's going to get into it a little bit further, and we will too. With the way it was written, I know how it can be perceived if you're like us and you're in the middle class, and not like us, but like us, right? I'm the man of the people. You are not, my friend.
I am very much a man of the people.
You're a man of the people. Okay, you're the man of the people too. Like us, you would feel like, oh, this tax code was written for them. And you feel like your guard needs to go up because you get a little defensive. Like, oh, they were always out to get us, right? But really, if you think about it, it's trying to reward the people that invest in assets that grow. That's good for the economy as a whole, right?
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? The people who write the tax code are the same people who politically are paid for by the people with the most money. So you try to pander to your audience. And this is why lobbying groups and politicians get such a bad rap, right? If you're a politician and you need donors to get your seat, well, those donors are usually wealthy people because the general populace doesn't have money to donate.
Yes.
And if you look at the K-shaped economy, it's going to be somebody at the top of the K, which means they're probably going to be the 1%. Now, what's going to make them and keep them happy is probably different financially, at least, than what's going to keep me happy on the bottom half of the K. And because of that, I think that this is just an inherent flaw in the system because there are no safeguards. The same people at the top of that K-shaped income right now are the same ones telling everybody that things are going to be improved by AI.
It's a flaw in the system to who, though?
Well, that's the question.
Because for the people at the top of that K-shaped economy, it seems to be working just fine.
Well, but I also take a bit of a pause here to say this is not an excuse not to become wealthy on your own. This is not to say that you can't and should not be able to attain that.
Right.
This is not an excuse. This is you can only play the game by the set of rules that you have in front of you, and these are the rules.
Right.
The only goal of this show is to give everybody the same weaponized, empowered, educational understanding of what the rules are, so we can all take advantage of them. And you can exploit these rules whether you have billions of dollars or not.
Right.
So let's get into a little bit more, and she explains a little bit more context and why some of these things have gone by the wayside. But there are some vehicles with which we can all participate here.
The tax code has become a means for increasing concentrations of wealth, as opposed to being a bulwark against it. Today, it can be difficult to fathom how much wealth the truly wealthy have. This is complicated by the fact that words like millionaire, billionaire, and trillionaire all sound much the same, and we have so few reference points for what each means. Adding to this confusion, the word millionaire has traditionally been synonymous with being very rich. But today, in many parts of the country, someone with $1 million would have a hard time maintaining what many of us have come to think of as the basics of a middle-class lifestyle, like owning a home and being able to send children to college. Beyond the growing expenses of modern life, there is also a profound mathematical difference between $1 million and $1 billion. Imagine, as a thought experiment, that a millionaire tried to finance her life using only interest generated by her income, as many wealthy people endeavor to do. At a 3% interest rate, $1 million would return only $30,000 in income a year.
Damn.
Barely enough to support a subsistence-level existence
Poor.
in most U.S. cities. Meanwhile, $1 billion at 3% interest would produce an annual income of $30 million, enough to support even the most lavish lifestyle, all while preserving the principal, which could then be passed on to children who can use the income to support their lifestyle.
Yeah, I know. The example that I always like is if you think about it in with the measurement of time, right?
Oh, yeah. Good example.
Right? Like 1 million seconds, I think, is 11 days versus 1 billion seconds is like 30-some years.
Yeah, and that's the compounding power of money that I think is lost on most people because we don't spend a lot of time thinking about things that we don't have. And it's very easy to just block that out.
Right.
But it's a problem. So as you might tell, this whole thing has been set up 27 minutes in just to give you the idea that there are 8 principles from this book that we need to really talk about. And we're going to start right off the top with the tax code created a modern aristocracy. Madoff's, I know the hilariousness of the name here. It's not lost on me.
I know.
Okay?
I had to refrain.
I could call her Madoff, but we know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Madoff's central claim is that America does not merely have inequality because markets produced it. The tax system itself helps produce and preserve it. This book argues that the ultra-rich are not just paying lower rates. In many cases, they functionally remove themselves from the tax system altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Warren Buffett, all examples of this. So it's not just the tech bros, okay? Even Buffs does this. ProPublica's IRS file reporting found that Jeff Bezos paid 0 federal income taxes in 2007 and 2011, and Elon Musk paid 0 federal income tax in 2018, despite enormous increases in wealth. The mechanism is simple. The tax system mostly taxes realized income, not the rise in value of assets that you own.
Yeah. I think a normal person thinks about getting rich by let me make more income. Okay, let me get a promotion. Let me get another job to make more money. I need to find a way to make more money as a W-2 earner. Whereas an ultra rich person probably looks at getting rich by owning more and more assets, right? I think a good, like, one punishes you, the other one protects you.
So I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yeah, thank you, my man. But I mean, look no further than, look, the whole system is literally designed so that you do invest in assets, right? If you make more than, several $100,000, the most the system could tax you is 37%, right? Whereas if you sell an asset that you own, it's 20%.
Mm-hmm.
And if you make that same amount of money, but if you sold an asset, right? So it's literally rewarding you for investing into assets.
So one of the ways that I have weaponized this, okay?
Weaponized.
There are two things that I distinctly do every single year that I try to keep in perspective. I was criticized by a lot of my peers for buying real estate in Oklahoma back when I started because it only paid me a couple $100 a month.
Mhm.
Everyone's like, well, Chris, you're putting $10, $20, $40,000 into that, but you're not making that much money. And Graham Steffens and a lot of people have now sold off their real estate because I can make more money in the stock market, but they're missing the point. I own a physical asset, and yes, property management can suck, but the equity appreciation over time and ultimately paying that mortgage off, which granted it's a 30-year mortgage, but keep in mind these are also $100,000, $150,000 loans on each one, or per door, I should say. That over time will then give me cash flow on that property over time at a pretty different number. Cash flow, I can use depreciation, amortization, and interest all to write off.
Yeah.
So there's a benefit there. The other thing I look at constantly is I look at my stock portfolio. I put money in there, about $500 a month, plus I reinvest dividends, plus everything else, right? One of the things I'll do is I'll look and see what my presumed tax liability is at the end of the year, and I will purposefully sell stock that has a loss associated with it, or if it's not doing as well, and take that loss to offset my gains other places. Right? So even though I lost some money on some stock because I made some bad bets, which happens to all of us.
But you've made money elsewhere, instead of sitting on it and maybe that stock turning around.
Maybe hoping for upside, I'll use whatever effective tax loss that I may have there. And I did this with the bank stock that I own. I took a pretty hefty, I think it was a $40,000 loss at a chunk because I knew I had a pretty hefty, like $60,000 tax bill coming up.
Yeah.
That basically erased about $40,000 of that tax loss.
Yeah. And this is something that an everyday person, a listener of the show can learn and do on their own and not have to, have some, high paying CPA on the payroll to analyze for them.
Well, the biggest misconception that I see most Americans make here is they're happy to get a tax refund. Why are you happy? You gave the government too much money.
I know. I think it's just so stressful for so many people.
I get it.
Yeah, the tax refund, all you did is give the government a free loan.
That's right. And you're getting it back with little to no interest. Yet if you pay them late, you're going to be taxed like crazy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you about my tax situation here. I routinely pay as late as possible. And I mean, sometimes it's not my fault. Sometimes there's other idiosyncratic challenges, but generally speaking, I'm going to file extension. I'm going to do all that kind of stuff because I'm not in the business of overpaying or underpaying. I'm in the business of paying what I owe and nothing more.
Yeah.
And that's what your relationship with taxes should be. It shouldn't be hoping for a refund, because if you're getting a refund at the end of the year, that's money you could have had every single month that you could have put to work.
Yeah, right.
So I think there's a pretty big delta there. And to Said's point that, I think that it's easy to say, well, I don't have assets. Assets take money to buy. I get all of that. But, okay, a great example of this. People are saying, well, Chris, damn, I didn't get it on SpaceX. Did you? What do you mean get in? Okay, so it's $200 a share now.
What do you bank on it getting to?
Yeah. I mean, you could still...
So it IPO'd at 135, is that right?
Yeah,
135. It's at 200 now?
About that.
I mean, and it's like 90% of all... It has a good chance of it even coming down further than what it's at now.
And if it does, the investment banks make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a crazy twist to the whole story.
Right. So, but like to your point, yeah, I mean, $200, if you're banking on this thing, holding it long term, which that's our philosophy, right? Then you'll be just fine.
So I should point out, this is Act 1 of 3 here, and this is really going to define workers versus owners. We're going to try to push everybody who listens to the show to be more of an owner and less of a worker. You can still be a worker and own things, okay? Again, 5 to 9. You've got to free yourself from the constraints of the system that you've been brought up to believe will support you. Number 2, income and wealth are treated very differently. A wage earner gets paid, the income is reported, payroll taxes apply, and taxes are withheld, but the ultra-wealthy often do not need traditional income. They hold appreciating assets, watch their net worth rise, and avoid taxable income until they sell. That creates a major divide between high earners and high net worth asset owners. Of course, an example for Said specifically here is LeBron James versus Jeff Bezos.
LeBron James?
Yeah, you might know him. I hear he's a pretty good basketball player. A LeBron James type earner gets paid salary, endorsements, and business income. That income is reportable and taxable. Not to mention he's got management and representatives taking 10% out here and there on the top as well. Wages also face payroll taxes. Social Security is 6.2% employee, 6.2% employer, and Medicare is 1.45% employee and 1.45% employer. A Bezos-type owner can watch Amazon stock appreciate by billions without owing income tax in until shares are sold. Long-term capital gains are also taxed at a lower rate than ordinary income, up to 20% to Said's point federally, plus a possible 3.8% in IIT, while ordinary income taxes can reach 37%, generally speaking, higher in other states.
Yeah,
California.
right. Yeah, exactly. There is a difference between being rich because like how you get paid, right, versus being rich and your stock going up. Because one gets taxed every year and the other one can just wait. Like we said, you could pledge it, you could borrow against it, and then pay it later, or you only pay it once you decide to sell the asset.
So a classic young person's argument to this is, Chris, I can't wait till I'm 105 years old to have any kind of meaningful assets and value. What I would say is you don't need to. You need 10, 15 years in the market to have a meaningful amount of stock to do something with. And if you don't want to go into a 401k and have your employer match, which I think is a good thing for most people who have access to that.
That's money. You don't want to leave that money on the table.
You don't, but at the same time, invest in your own. Invest in an IRA if you want to for tax deferral purposes, or just invest in a general stock account, which is a question we get a lot. How do you do that? It's really simple. You can go to Robinhood. You can go to Fidelity if you have your IRA there or your 401k there. You can just open up a separate personal account.
Vanguard.
Yeah, open an account, fund it with as little as $100 and maybe even less than that, depending on where you open it up at, right? E-Trade, another great example of this. And you can start investing tomorrow. You just need to have enough cash in the account that you can buy whatever stock you want.
Yeah.
We can walk people through it if they really, really want more detail than that, but it's really not hard. And because you have Plaid, which is direct instant account funding, instant account verification, you can literally be up and running on places like Robinhood within like 20 minutes.
Wow.
It's kind of nuts here. The other third portion of this first act is the working rich are not the same as the plutocratic rich.
Ooh.
Yeah, SAT vocabulary.
Right.
Vocabulary. This is an important distinction. A surgeon, lawyer, banker, or executive with a high W-2 income may pay a larger tax bill. Who does that sound like?
Let's see.
Anybody
lawyer,
I know?
A banker or executive.
Or lawyer. Huh, that's strange. I wonder who wrote that. But the truly wealthy can still structure their economic lives around asset protection and appreciation, borrowing, trust, and transfers. So this book by Madoff separates people who are rich because they earn and people who are rich because they own.
So you're telling me Madoff is teaching us how to finesse the books.
I know.
That's what's going on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to take Jamie Dimon's going to catch a stray here, just full disclosure.
Woo, yeah. Jamie.
A high-income executive like Jamie Dimon may be extremely wealthy, but compensation bonuses and stock awards generally show up as taxable income when paid or vested, which is why you see these guys get big-ass bonuses like $30 million, because Uncle Jamie's probably going to take home closer to $12 million of that.
Aww.
I know. It's sad, right? But think about this.
Does it cover his yacht dock fee?
But think about this. And again, I'm not co-signing one way or the other. Why does the government get 18 million of that?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
What are y'all doing with that?
Right. I mean, overspending. Every year still.
It's just, like, I don't mind, like, we all got to pay taxes. The thing is if you're making more money than the guy who's getting the money, and, like, that's wrong.
Right.
Like that,
Right.
Okay, and
what did you do? I get more than you do because I let you play the game.
And people think like, oh, well, he's got tax. Okay, yes, he has tax shelters. He does deploy the wealthy tax advantages that we're talking about here, but his wages are W-2 to him personally. He's not a consultant. He's an SEC publicly traded executive. He's an insider. He's all the things, which means he's getting paid in his Social Security number, right? And this is a bit of a hyperbole on how much he's getting taxed, but at least 50%, if not a little bit more, is going to the government.
Yep.
And why is that okay?
That's why these guys, executives, or if you're ever like negotiating like your packages, right, that they're going to get, they're always discussing stock options.
Because the stock is where you want to get paid.
Yeah, right.
And myself included, until I lost said stock options. That's awkward. Let's move on quickly before I start crying. A high income earner like Jamie Dimon, okay, very unique. But this applies to everybody. It applies to you, to me, to everybody else. So you have to understand, for Jamie, He's going to pay that W-2 wages. You're going to pay that if you make W-2 wages. So whenever we preach to people your 5 to 9 matters, it's because if you come up with some extra ways to make money in the context of a business from 5 to 9, every dollar you make is actually 10 to 20, maybe even 30% more valuable to you because of your resulting tax rate. So if you go and you have $100,000 that you make at your normal job a year, but then you start a business and you're making $50,000, that $50,000 is probably more equivalent to $75,000 to you.
Right.
So it takes a lot less bottom line net income to give you the same lifestyle you have at your op. Now, I'm not discounting how hard it is to have a second business, how hard it is to work at nights and weekends, but this is part of the reason people find it so lucrative to do so.
Right.
And it's a small world example, but it's a big benefit to most people. So let's get into a little bit of this here. Jamie Dimon may be extremely wealthy, but compensation, bonuses, stock awards generally show up as taxable income. Like we covered here, that is very different than someone like Buffett or Bezos, whose wealth is largely embedded in appreciation and ownership stakes. ProPublica once again here reported showing billionaires can grow enormous fortunes while paying relatively little income tax because the U.S. system taxes income, not unsold appreciation. Like we've covered, Peter Thiel is another example here of the divide. ProPublica reported that Thiel turned a Roth IRA worth less than $2,000 in 1999 into roughly $5 billion tax-free account using early private company shares unavailable to most people.
Yeah, man. So I could sense just the listener on the other side of this just getting more and more aggravated that they're, yes, I understand I'm on the wrong side of this formula, and somebody making $2 million a year is considered being rich, but they're still within this like tax machine versus like the founders that are ultimately going to be making billions of dollars and who are playing an entirely different game. But we promise you, continue to listen, and there will be investment opportunities for you to implement so that you can take advantage of these same principles.
And that's what Act 2 is, the playbook. But let's be clear here. You're not on the wrong side of the formula. You're on the wrong side of the math, right? For the compounding extremes. But if Peter Thiel can take $2,000 in an IRA in 1999, 30 years have gone by. That's $5 billion of tax-free dollars for him. Okay, you're not Peter Thiel.
Okay, yeah.
Let's just say 10 million.
Are you okay with the fraction of it?
10 million might be something we could all do.
I'd be happy.
I'm just saying. So buy, borrow, die is the playbook for most of these people.
I feel this theory has been going around. Not even a theory. This playbook has been going around for as long as I can remember.
Because loans to people who generally don't have them are intimidating, right? They go, I don't want to get a loan. I got to pay all this debt payments. A wealthy person goes, I got to get the loan in arbitrage.
Arbitrage is the key, right? It's not just so like to our example earlier. This is the one where I think most people or they get hung up on, and why I believe initially when you started off your journey into this, you went into real estate. Because when we talk about owning stocks and then you pledging the stock to get a loan against it, let's say you have a stock and or like a bunch of stocks that you own worth $100,000, you pledge it, you get a loan for $25,000, $40,000, whatever the case may be, right? Well, now there's a payment associated with that. How am I going to pay that bill, right?
Well,
so
the disconnect here is that this is how banks work too, right? Banks work this way. This is how everybody works. This is how the system works. And because this is how the system works, you have to either play the rules by the rules that are the game by the rules that are in place.
Yes.
Or you can fear and deny.
Yes.
Right?
But on the counter side of that, same concept, but under real estate, now you're doing it with the loan and you're getting it, and you bought an asset that is producing income that can pay back the loan itself. And eventually over time, as it appreciates in value, you can take out another loan against it that you don't get taxed on, pay off your original loan, and now maybe go duplicate it again, right? Or pocket it for if you wanted to.
This is how real estate investors typically get wealthy. And this is why I'm always seeing a little bit of skepticism around younger real estate investors who claim they own like 100 units, right? You haven't had the time in the game to mature and build that equity over time to play that leverage game and deploy that capital.
Yeah, and if you do have 100 units, then mommy and daddy helped you and you inherited it. Good for you. Good for mommy and daddy to help you. But don't sell it like you did this overnight.
Or you had a liquidity event. I mean, look, good for you. You had some event in your life that gave you those assets. That's all good.
There's nothing wrong with you saying this is the playbook.
Yeah.
But don't make it seem like you snapped your finger.
That liquidity event needs to be disclosed to people when you tell your story for no other reason than the last thing you want to do is be disingenuous that you had an opportunity or took advantage of an opportunity that other people should at least be aware of when trying to size up whether real estate is a playbook for them.
Right.
I think a lot of people leave that out, right? So one of the biggest ideas the wealthy can live off of loans secured by appreciated assets instead of selling those assets. Borrowing is not taxable income, as Saied noted, okay? So examples here, Elon Musk and Larry Ellison. ProPublica reported that Tesla disclosed Musk had pledged about 92 million shares of Tesla stock worth roughly $57.7 billion as of May 2021 as collateral for personal loans. He also has a carve-out in SpaceX for a special class of shares that his sole purpose is that he can pledge them in this way. Oracle disclosed that in 2014, Larry Ellison had a credit line secured by about $10 billion of Oracle shares. So very high profile, very visible examples of this happening. That is the borrow part. Instead of selling the stock and triggering capital gains tax, the billionaires borrow across the stock. Then, if the asset is held until death, heirs can receive a stepped-up basis, meaning the tax basis becomes the fair market value of the stock at death,
Right.
which is a very different number. The IRS describes inherited property basis as generally the fair market value at the date of death.
Wow. Yep.
It's a crazy exception.
It is a crazy exception. And the key part here is what they don't do is they don't sell the asset. They borrow against it, right? Because like we mentioned earlier, debt is not income. Debt can be wiped out, decades of embedded gains through the step-up basis.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you made all this money over the last several years, that would have been capital gains triggers. Well, those capital gains that stock is valued at the time of death, not the time of acquisition. So the capital gains are effectively wiped out over the course of your lifetime.
Wow.
It's a pretty meaningful exception, but anybody can do that, right? It's not new.
Right. And you could really give your heirs.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's not just always your children, right? Some people don't have kids, right? But anyone you declare as your heir, you give them a leg up.
Yeah, absolutely. The estate tax was supposed to prevent dynastic wealth from passing tax-free across generations. Madoff argues that loopholes, exemptions, and political attacks on the death tax have made it ineffective. The book that she wrote describes a world of advanced exotic estate planning tools, grats, slats, cruts. These are all types of trust that pass on your assets to the next generation. Or the subsequent generation after that, for that matter, that allow large fortunes to pass through with reduced tax impact. And look, these are all legal. They're very complicated. I've seen a number of different vehicles like this. I've seen them. They used to go from the U.S. to the Cayman Islands or the Canary Islands.
That's what
and
you
back
used to
again.
hear. Yeah,
I've seen all sorts of examples of this over the years. Now you have tax shelters in the United States as well as outside the United States. You've got, Nevada. You've got Texas. You've got
Puerto Rico.
Places. Yeah, Puerto Rico. So there's all sorts of tax shelters now where this is becoming powerful.
So given your history, I know this episode is probably going to be a little bit longer of an episode for people, but like at what stage in someone's professional career would you say, you should start to consider, building a trust?
I mean, you always should have one. There's not a period of time,
right? The second I would feel like the second you like, I was very much late to the game. But
if you're living on your own, you should have a trust.
Yeah, you should be right. You're investing.
Yeah,
you're investing in the stock market. You should have a trust.
You own a piece of real estate. You should have a trust. If you have kids, you should definitely have a trust.
Right.
There's going to be very few examples of which you can go to Get Dynasty or Dynasty or whatever it's called. I think Get Dynasty is what
Get Dynasty. Yeah,
Sal's cousin.
That's a very simple and easy one, but that they can get you set up like really, really quickly, right? But if you were to go even to an attorney, right, that specializes in this. A good attorney, right? This is not something that really gets like set up overnight, right? They're going to ask you all the hard-hitting questions. Yep. And then as you continue to progress through life, it's something that you go back and revisit and make modifications to.
Yeah, which is where most trusts go to die. People will make them, but they don't want to go back and revisit them later on because you update your life. You get married, you get divorced, you have more kids, you get more real estate assets, you get more stock assets, some of which are not described properly in your trust, and then you die. And then the last thing you want people doing is fighting over your shit when you die. And the last person you want with their hand in the pot fighting for your shit when you die is the government.
Right. Because then it really gets dragged out.
So that's where this becomes very, very valuable. There's tons of great tax attorneys out there. Lauren Powell Jobs, Michael Bloomberg, Steven Schwartzman, and Charles Koch. I'm sorry, Koch.
I am not mature enough to have this conversation, sir.
It's Koch.
Okay.
Koch or Koch, I figured you were going to go for it either way. ProPublica reported that more than half of America's 100 richest people have used grants or other trusts to avoid estate tax planning, naming Michael Bloomberg, the Lauder, Estee Lauder trust guy, Steven Schwartzman, Charles and David Koch, and Lauren Powell Jobs. Lauren Powell Jobs' example is especially clear. After Steve Jobs died, she reportedly used grants to pass roughly $500 million to children, friends, and family estate tax free, avoiding at least $200 million in estate and gift taxes, according to ProPublica. Her attorney said the planning was intended to help heirs pay future estate taxes on hard assets.
Love that. That's thinking ahead. Like, look, and it's not going to be the same for every person, right? If you know, let's just say you're somebody that has kids, and as time goes on, you recognize, some of your kids have strong traits and are very responsible, and some maybe not so much. Maybe I need to plan to make sure that these things are taken care of for them so they don't let the entire empire go to shit.
Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah.
Bang. Words. Yeah.
Yeah.
The estate tax is also narrow by design. The IRS filing threshold for 2026, just an example here, $15 million per person. I don't have this problem personally, but okay. And the Tax Policy Center estimated that only about 0.14%, so 0.14% of decedents would pay an estate tax under the recent thresholds.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't a lot of people.
Yeah. The estate tax sounds very, very much political. But in practice, most of America never touches it. The ultra rich have an entire industry built around planning through it.
Yeah, and the next section is going to really upset a lot of people. But
More.
It's a reality. Inheritance is treated more favorably than work. And I get it. If you die and you pass your money along, you shouldn't be taxed the same as when you're working. But the other argument's also good, too. I'm working for this shit, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I could use a little bit of a break.
That dude just had somebody die.
Yeah, right. Why did they get all of it? I mean, just give a little bit back.
Why don't you tax him more and tax all the rest of us less?
It's a hard argument to argue against.
A major policy critique is that someone who earns money through labor pays income and payroll taxes, while someone who receives a large inheritance may receive it income tax-free, i.e. Ms. Jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Madoff's reform idea is to tax large inheritances under the income tax system with exemptions for ordinary families. So you can see how she does.
What's considered ordinary?
I don't know.
And if it's just a primary residence that gets passed down.
My theory here is different than hers. I don't have a problem with wealthy people taking advantage of the same loopholes that we can all take advantage of. I have a problem with companies, i.e. Google, going to Ireland as a tax shelter for them to pay as little taxes as possible.
Let me tell you what's not going to happen. Right? That's not changing.
You don't know that.
I know that.
You don't know that.
Because you know why?
AI is going to fix all of this.
Because a lot of people had to pay their student loans, and when the conversation came for people to not pay their student loans, they're like, that wasn't fair. I had to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So
me one of them.
Yeah, so people are going to lobby against this ever happening, changing it to where they're going to have to pay more. Why? Why would I have to pay? They didn't have to pay.
Oh, no, I agree with that. And I think that's 100% accurate. So I say, let's forego the foreplay.
Why are we entertaining? We know this isn't happening.
We need to penetrate the corporate veil, right? We need to pierce,
not penetrate, Chris.
The corporate veil.
Come on.
They're the same thing. Pierce, penetrate.
Yeah. One's a little bit more aggressive.
Those are interchangeable.
No, there's not. Piercing and penetrating, one is punishing.
No, that's not true. I don't know what vocabulary you're using in your house. If I were to pierce your nipple, okay?
Yeah, that doesn't sound so bad.
I penetrate it with a rod.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
See, if you came to me and were like, listen, it's not going to hurt. I'm just going to penetrate it. See, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with you penetrating my nipple.
Okay, your beef is with the English language, not with the context.
Piercing my nipple is a whole other conversation.
Well, look, first of all, the fact that we talked about that off the mic and now you're talking about it on the mic is very open of you. You don't talk much about your personal life, but the barbells that you got going on there are really
being disingenuous.
Have you seen, this is a real thing on social media, women are literally getting like nipple covers they wear underneath like their garments, and they're putting like piercings on them to make it look like they have pierced nipples.
Because the type of person you want to attract likes that, and then you're going to disappoint them after the fact. I don't understand.
It is a bit of false advertising.
You know
what I mean?
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of false advertising going on. There's a lot.
I want to look like I'm a freak, but I also want to be able to remove it.
Right. I mean, I don't really false advertise. What you see is what you get.
That's not true.
Right. Well, I'm not putting on any makeup. I don't get my nails done.
We put makeup on you before we started this show. He was like, Chris, there a hot spot over here? Yeah, right there.
I don't wear heels. Which, by the way, I saw a guy at a restaurant the other day with the kids.
Yeah.
And he was walking all funny, and I reverse imaged his shoes, and they were like the ones with the highest
the
soles.
lifts?
I was like, off Amazon. I'm like, bro, be a little bit more discreet about it.
Come on, dude. Everybody's got like a...
It was like over 3 inches.
That's a lot. That's bigger than most things. that's a lot.
Yeah.
How tall was
I
he?
literally snapped a photo as he like was walking by, and I reversed imaged.
Why do you got to be that guy?
Because I want to know.
This is evidence. Everybody listening to the show, this is evidence that Saied is a bad person.
Why am I that?
Everybody labels you. Saeed's the good one. Chris is the devil.
I want to know. I'm like, this guy,
Nope.
hey, it did not look proportionate. I was like, wait, the legs are looking a little bit
Short
too long.
arms.
I was like, what's going on here?
How tall do you think he was?
He had to have been like 5'4". So he was trying to get up to 5'7".
Good for him. I support it.
I'm not letting him have that. I'm taller than you, and you got to recognize it.
How tall are you?
5'8" on a good day.
With or without lifts?
No lifts, man. Jeez.
All right. Mars heirs, Mellon heirs, Sackler heirs, Nordstrom heirs, Wrigley heirs. ProPublica reported that 1/3 of the top 50 wealthiest Americans on Forbes' list were heirs. 1/3.
Wow.
And that trust income had delivered huge sums of money to descendants. Mortimer Sackler's youngest son took in more than $205 million by age 22. Bruce Nordstrom received more than $175 million in trust through 2019, and William Wrigley Jr. received more than $570 million in trust income through that year. This is the core Madoff point. A worker can pay taxes every paycheck, while dynastic wealth can be routed through trust, inheritance rules, and step-up bases. The Tax Policy Center notes that step-up bases effectively exempts from income tax gains on assets held until death.
And what's just not fair because of the contributions made to society. A nurse, a teacher, a cop, even a banker helps local community with their CRA credits, pays taxes before the money even hits the account.
Yeah.
While an heir can receive wealth created over decades and decades and decades with a dramatically lighter tax footprint.
So here is where like I get real deeply into this person. My sister was a teacher for a long period of time. She's now in the real estate world. Couldn't make it as a teacher because the salary just wasn't enough to survive, right? My wife was a nurse. I've seen what they get paid and the work they have to do. Dude, if you think you can do what some of these nurses do, I encourage you to talk to a nurse who has to work in the ER. Some nurse jobs are cushier than others for sure. But those jobs are tough jobs.
Yeah, man.
It's not like you can go to the office, sit there at your desk, play in your little terminal, type in some stuff, and look at me. Oh, look, I'm on the internets.
Yeah, I mean, and they're getting paid, they're getting paid more than the median salary income, but no one talks about, for most of those people that are coming out of those trade schools, they're coming out with some hefty student loan debt.
You and I were talking earlier, dental hygienist.
Yeah.
You got to go to the office to do your job.
There's no working remote.
No working remote.
Mm-mm.
You got a cold, you're sick, you literally can't work.
Yeah, exactly. But there are some remote positions for some RNs. I know some of the moms that
like telephone.
Yeah, I guess telehealth. But for the most part, those two got to be in office.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Tough gigs, and yet they're getting taxed. So
Mm-hmm.
why? I will vote for teachers and nurses and healthcare professionals not to pay taxes.
I mean, they're essential workers, right?
Yeah.
They had to show up even when everything else was shut down.
Why is a server at a restaurant Look, I don't want to be the asshole here, but if I got a tip to cover your health care because we're adding that now as a surcharge, why don't we just not tax them? You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you do for a living,
Yeah.
I don't want to tax you. I don't want you contributing to society's tax burden. I mean, maybe I'm a biased person. I don't know.
No. I think. In theory, it all sounds good, but when you do the math, and we talk about on the show where, we're earning $4 trillion a year in tax revenue from individuals and corporations, and we're spending about $6 trillion. Then what are we gonna not spend money on?
Well,
or are we gonna tax corporations more?
That's where this goes, man. And every single time I talk about this, people are like, "Yeah, that's not gonna happen." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it should. It should.
But look, if something, here's the thing, right?
If you're not gonna tax the billionaires, and I don't know that you should tax them any more than you should an individual, because look, we're supposed to be the land of the dreamers, and you're supposed to be able to achieve all these things, the American dream. I'm all for that. I'm all for capitalism. Go make your money, boy. Go make your money, girl. Go do your thing. Like, I'm cool with that. But if you build a company that's able to pay you a ton of money in equity appreciation over time, stock, you return that to the shareholders. You're putting that money in the market. The market's giving you money by buying your stock. You pay taxes.
Yeah.
The company, you pay taxes.
Right.
You're getting the benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you're going to have the benefit of having your expenses come after your income, before taxes, EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to get that benefit where me, the worker, doesn't get that benefit, then you're going to pay it, bro.
Yeah. What if you're a publicly traded company and every employee is required to get stock?
I like that.
You got to account for it.
Yeah. Well, there's some companies will allow you to buy the company stock.
Well, they allow you to buy versus like, okay, no, everybody gets stock options, right? Here's the thing. So no company is just going to arbitrarily come out next year and be like, we know what compound inflation has done to everybody. We're gonna give our employees a significant pay bump and pay raise, right? Because that if they're not producing enough profits, then that affects their earnings and then that they don't do well on Wall Street, right? Okay, but if you did a sweeping across the board, we got to tax everybody more. Then nobody looks at the discounted earnings and say the company's not making as much. No, we all know why they're not making as much anymore. So they won't get people aren't selling the stock if everyone now has to pay more.
Yeah, well, and look, let's be clear too about pensions were the original ownership of the end goal, right? You had a vested interest in the outcome because you wanted that company to do well because you wanted your pension to be around when you retired.
Logically, makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. If we're giving people stock now as an alternative, which I fully support that, they have a vested interest in the company doing well. You've got a worker who is now financially vested in improving your stock performance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now put limitations around it. It gets vested over time, right?
Yeah, waterfall vesting. That's what we do for executives.
Right. It's what
if Jamie Dimon gets a $10 million, so this is the other part of it that we don't talk a whole lot about. If Jamie Dimon gets a $10 million stock award that year, and you go, oh my God, Jamie Dimon made $10 million. Not really. Here's how this works. It's a waterfall vesting. Typically speaking, it's over 3 years. So he's going to get $3.3 million year one, right now, $3.3 million next year, $3.3 million the year after that. The second year, he gets another, let's call it $15 million award, right? He's going to get $5 million that year plus his $3.3 million from the previous year.
Right.
So now he's going to make 8.3. And then he's going to get $5 million and $5 million and so on and so forth.
But this isn't just like...
That's how it keeps executives there.
But it's not just at the top executive level. I mean, engineers over at Meta are this is how they get paid. People across all different industries, this is how they get paid, right? So it's like this can happen for everybody.
Well, it's also hard because there's the whole portion of this too for the companies. You have to do company buyback, limit the amount of stock that's on the market.
And they do they already do this for employees just for their 401k.
In some, well, kind of.
Yeah, it gets vested over like 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is that 4 years the average number?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's average. That's the name of the game.
So the third act here is all about philanthropic endeavors, right?
Madoff. So giving.
Terrible human being. And political power.
Yeah.
That's the last act here. And I tied these two together because they're very much closer than I think most people realize. So I'm going to give a couple of examples, and we're going to walk through philanthropy. I'm English today. Philanthropy.
I'm feeling a little throppy.
Yeah. Don't do it, Chris. Don't. Just keep going. Keep going. All right. Madoff is not arguing that all philanthropy is bad. Her point is that private foundations and donor-advised funds can give wealthy donors immediate tax benefits while allowing money to sit for longer periods before producing public benefits. Why a lot of very wealthy people have foundations. Not because they're just super giving, because they're using that as a tax write-off to offset gains they know they're going to take, right? So pay as little taxes as possible by giving away your money visibly to help yourself and help other people.
Yeah, Steve Ballmer in the news right now for using his foundations to circumvent the NBA salary cap.
Yeah, that's a thing.
See, it's a problem. See, it's not illegal, but against the rules of the NBA.
Yeah, which is not a crime.
Not a crime, so he can't go to jail for it.
You know, he had a conversation with an attorney at some point. He's like, listen, guy, I'm going to do this. Is it illegal or not? And he goes, well, technically no, Steve, but it's a bad look.
Yeah. And then, you know,
I didn't ask you what it looks good or bad.
And then, you know what he thought? He was like, yeah, but you know, I'm like the richest owner in the NBA. They're not going to do anything to me.
You know I'm rich, right?
You know, I don't play by everyone else's rules.
I'm paying you a lot of money, attorney. Figure it out.
Yeah. He also made $300 million in dividend income last quarter.
Stop talking to me.
Last quarter. Hold on.
Shut your mouth.
The quarter, Christopher.
Shut your
Not
mouth.
even for the year. The quarter.
I get it. Can we get back to this?
Sorry.
You're just depressing me over and over again.
Yeah.
All right. Zuckerberg, Musk, and Buffett. Donor-advised funds let donors get an immediate tax benefit while recommending grants later. Ray Madoff, the professor here, specifically criticizes DAFs, right, donor-advised funds, because donors can receive an immediate tax break while the money does not necessarily have to reach operating charities right away, meaning you donate it to the charity. That in and of itself is enough, but the charity doesn't actually deploy the assets, and you still get the tax benefit.
Bro. It's comical, man, right? Like
it's going to be deployed, Saied.
You know,
just be patient.
We're looking for the right person to give it to.
Of course, you got to have examples of this. Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan's Philanthropy is a useful example because Chan-Zuckerberg initiative has used multiple vehicles, including a private foundation, a donor-advised fund at Silicon Valley Community Foundation, and a 501c4 advocacy arm. Elon Musk is another recognizable example of appreciated stock philanthropy.
It's going to stick.
It is. I'm going to try to get everybody to say it. Reuters reported that Musk donated billions of dollars of Tesla shares in recent years, including about $5.74 billion in 2021 and $1.95 billion in 2022. Warren Buffett is the cleanest example of appreciated stock giving. Reuters reported Buffett donated a record $6 billion of Berkshire Hathaway stock in 2025, bringing his lifetime giving to more than $60 billion. Donating appreciated stock can avoid capital gains tax while supporting charity.
He's so generous. So philanthropy can be real generosity and a tax strategy at the same time. The question is not whether charity is good. The question should really be whether billionaires should get immediate tax benefits while retaining massive influence over when, where, and how the money gets deployed.
And this is when we go a couple episodes back. We talked about the Rothschilds, the Vanderbilts. We talked about the museums, the libraries, the hospitals. They all put out and deployed when they got the benefit of some of the tax breaks that the corporations got originally. These tax breaks the corporations got, i.e. paying the tax burden after their expenses. So they got this shift. That came with the promise to do all of these things. And everybody went along with it because they provided all of these things. That's what you see all these buildings, you go, oh my God, like that's got the name of so-and-so at the top of it. Like that's so charitable of them.
Right.
No, dude. Like that was the extortion. Right. You got extorted. You know what I mean? Like that they did that so y'all would shut up. Yeah. That's blood money right there.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is we did all shut up. And we remembered their legacy like that. It was almost political advocacy like light, right? Like they advocated by doing these things. They got the tax benefit by doing it. They got their name on a sign for doing it. Covered up a lot of dirty deeds they did to get all that money back in the day by putting their name on buildings. Look, I gave you this hospital. I gave you this church. I gave you this library. I gave you this park. I gave you this museum.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not.
But it's still in their name. They still own it.
No. The charities run it. They donated them, so they don't own them, right? But
Right.
again, the fact of the matter
give it to the
is
charities, yeah.
there was trade-offs here. And the trade-offs are they got a better tax benefit because of it.
Yeah.
And this was all part of the whole, hey, companies are going to give you the society, all these things. Well, guess what's happened over the course of the last 100 years? Companies are like, yeah, about all that cool stuff we were giving everybody in society, that's expensive.
We got to find a different way.
We don't want to do that no more.
There's got to be a different way.
Yeah. You know what? We're not going to do that anymore. Matter of fact, we're going to take this entire company to Ireland.
Yeah.
And we're just not going to pay any taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So, how you feel about that?
Yeah.
That's why I put this on the companies. And companies doing what companies are allowed to do. The problem is we got to close those loopholes and force the companies to be more responsible with their contributions back to society. I don't care how you do it. Personally, I prefer that everybody got pensions again.
I mean, yeah, that's great in theory. We know that's not happening.
But everybody's like, well, AI, man, we're going to have UBI, Universal Basic Income. What?
Yeah. What do you think about a company like Tesla, like starting out in California
Mhm.
and then being like, you know what? Screw you guys. Going to Texas.
No, I think that's right. That actually is a good segue. Damn it, Saied.
I do this.
Yeah, tax avoidance and advocacy becomes political power. Okay, examples here. Peter Thiel is the sharpest example. ProPublica reported that he amassed a $5 billion Roth IRA. Is your phone ringing on the table in the middle of the show?
Rings. I thought it was your phone. I was like, what is he doing? That's
What
that's rookie level shit right there.
First of all, just
And
for
then,
the
I,
record,
and then I saw it was mine.
for the record, my ringtone is X going to give it to you. It's not Sparkles. Okay,
That's the Ring app. That's universal,
the
bro.
Ring app.
Yeah.
Sparkles.
Yeah.
You know, my phone sounds like X going to give it to you.
That's good.
Not fairy dust.
Yeah.
Is that what that was?
I like fairy dust.
Sprinkles? Sparkles?
Yeah. My in-laws took the kids out for dinner tonight.
So the Sparkles
So
ringtone is justified?
that just showed me that they're back.
That's your house entry sound?
No, when they approach the door, bro. Do you know how a Ring doorbell works?
I don't have a Ring doorbell. I got a Nest.
It's okay, but you don't get notified.
I do, but it doesn't have sparkles. It doesn't play any sounds. It just gives me an alert.
Yeah. Well, that's why. Yeah. So they're back.
Can you change it for when? Does it recognize your face?
It's 8 p.m. for everyone who's listening, in case they're wondering.
Don't do that.
What?
Don't do that. Don't try to justify your
I'm
sounds.
swerving, and you look like the bad guy for going back to the conversation.
All right, Lord of Sparkles.
Yeah.
All right, the Koch brothers are another obvious example here. ProPublica identified Charles and David Koch among billionaires using trust and noted that they had funded libertarian causes and lobbying efforts to roll back the estate tax. ProPublica also reported Peter Thiel that he amassed a $5 billion Roth IRA I talked about earlier in the show, $2,000 in 1999 to $5 billion today. Also described him as a major funder of a prominent anti-tax political action committee.
Mm.
And all this is done through kind of what I would call gray, murky area territory. Timothy Mellon, a dynastic wealth example, ProPublica reported that Mellon family fortune has endured for generations and that Timothy Mellon donated $53 million in securities to Texas for a border wall and was a major donor to Donald Trump's 2020 reelection campaign. Again, not judging the political stuff here, but that's where this ultimate goes, and it's a big circle of life.
It is a big circle of life, and it gets you to think about the big picture of how, wealth and power and greed all kind of go hand in hand, because this is where the tax story becomes a democracy story. If wealth compounds untaxed across generations, it does not just buy yachts and houses.
It does, though.
What was our yacht tea back in the day?
Come on, yacht it up.
Yacht it
dude.
up.
How do
It
you
was a
forget
test.
that?
It was a pop quiz.
You didn't know
Hold
that.
on, it was a pop quiz and you passed.
Didn't know that.
It buys media, think tanks,
Think
PACs.
tank is it?
think tanks, ballot measures, foundations, universities, and policy influences. So this is where we say this is why you need to invest in independent media.
We're going to have a
Head over-
philanthropy think tank.
Head over to joyfridays.com and use the code HIGHER to help out your boys.
So you too can join a think tank.
This is
Think tanker.
you cannot do this.
What? you need some NAD plus, man. Your brain going slow.
No, it ain't.
Yeah.
Mr. Philanthropy.
Philanthropy. I'm English. There's a difference.
There's difference.
Philanthropy.
English for Japanese.
Huh?
English for Japanese.
Whoa.
That's what you were doing.
That was Japanese.
That was you
I
were
was making fun of your stuttering, bro.
That's what you were doing, bro.
Don't take it there.
No, that's what you did. I didn't do it. You did it.
It has nothing to do with Japanese. I speak Japanese.
That's why you're allowed to do it.
Sumimasen, nihongo ga wakarimasu ka?
He's not making up words.
Skoshi wakarimasu.
Yes. Chris visited Japan once and he felt the need to.
Pimsleur.
Yeah, Pimsleur. Greatest.
The greatest.
I tell everybody about it.
Yeah, that's the best way to learn a language.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yeah, I know tax code's dry stuff. I know it's not like the world's most entertaining topic, but it is a valuable topic. It is something to know. And hopefully it gives people some perspective that
I think it's something that you should look if you've been putting it off for some time. Look, if you're doing the due diligence to plan your future and plan ways to grow in your career and eventually make more money, then you should spend some time and learn this too.
Well, the way I look at it is all goes together, right? If you're not being proactive and thinking about these things I do this all the time. I get frustrated. So I got the call from me this morning. I feel like a failure every single day. Every day I do because I want to build something more. And very few people are fortunate and lucky enough to find the thing they're passionate about that also grows. A lot of people, their passions become their hobbies and they don't grow. They just do it for fun, like podcasts. And I don't know, man. We all need to be more thoughtful about what we do for a living and what we do outside of what we do for a living. Because what you do for a living can go away to no fault of your own.
Mm-hmm.
What you do outside of what you do for a living will be there and hopefully grow no matter what. So,
yeah,
food for thought.
I agree.
All right.
If you enjoyed this show, please head over to Apple or Spotify and leave us an honest 5-star review. If you're watching this over on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, ring that notification bell, do all the moist, goody good sassafras stuff.
Sassafras.
Old school.
Yeah.
A big thank you that you can give us is referring this show to a family member, friend, fellow colleague, fellow investor, someone that you feel like could enjoy a good laugh. If you're feeling philanthropy.
Philanthropy?
Yes.
Think of tanko.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of The Higher Standard. Head over to joinfridays.com.
You say that 3 times.
Yeah, you gotta go.
No, man.
You gotta go. They're the homies. They hook it up. Rajil, take us out. Good night, everybody.
Bye.